Well, hey, everybody, it's Michael Osinski.
And it's also Tyler Esselman.
And you are listening to This One Goes to 11.
This One Goes to 11 is still our podcast where we invite someone into our virtual living room to make their case for what they believe is a perfect album.
So perfect, in fact, that 10 out of 10 just isn't good enough.
And continues to not be good enough. How's the fall treating you, Michael? Are you feeling like leaves? You ready for leaves? Is that what happens?
I mean, I'm always ready for leaves. I am an autumnal guy, with my birthday being in the autumn and what's not. But now that I'm back in Philadelphia, it's not the same. I mean, granted, I'm living in West Philly now, where there are a lot more trees, so I actually might get to experience something. I mean, I got peep a few outside my window.
They might be peeped.
But also, and it comes later too than like where I just was, where it was, autumn for a good stretch of September and October. But
right, that's different. It's in what we like to call basically Canada.
Yes. When I was basically living in Canada. Oh, if only. Oh man. Anyway.
Right. Well, this week we have a very special guest. All of our guests are very special, but this one is extra, extra special. I might go ahead and say that one. Mm-hmm. And also another lover of fall and all things autumnal, notably. Mm-hmm. So, Michael, who are we talking to this week?
We're talking to someone you know quite well, Tyler. We are talking to Lauren Robinson. How do you know Lauren specifically?
Well, actually, it's funny you ask, because Lauren is my first and best buddy. She's my sister. She was born in St. Louis, Missouri, and grew up there and in Calabasas, California for a time, if you know the Esselman family lore. She studied at the University of Missouri and Oklahoma State University, and is now a licensed marriage and family therapist. And she's worked as a counselor with Youth Services of Tulsa, notably, and in a few different academic settings. But who is this person? Well, she's my sister, and she loves to travel, much like I do. She loves to bake. She loves to watch movies and organize family games at the holidays. She's a steadfast friend. She's one of the best listeners in my entire life. And she'll fight for those she loves with every little bit of herself. She's got a really big heart, my sister. She's the best sister a guy could ask for, and she has great taste in music to boot. It's Lauren Robinson.
Wow. That's so sweet.
Hi, Lauren. What's up?
Hi. How's it going?
Man, it's crazy. It's crazy that we got 9 seasons and we haven't had you on yet, considering how big a musical presence you are in my life. But it had to come eventually, didn't it?
I'm here. I'm ready to play. So
you've been ready.
Yeah, I've just been prepping.
Yeah,
I'm a slow burn. So here we are. Happy to be here.
Yeah, we were saying that the last time Michael and you were in the same room together was probably in the before COVID times in 2019, when Michael and I did our solo show, The Celebrity Guide to Mental Health and Wellness at Solo Fest, Philadelphia.
It's so good. I think about it often.
I was pretty proud of that piece, weren't you, Michael?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's maybe there'll be more future life for that in a different form, perhaps. I don't know.
In one form or another.
Yeah.
Yeah, that doctor voice.
Dr. Dieter.
Yeah.
Matthew.
That's right. You had to be their moment, but
it kind of was, wasn't it?
Iconic, yeah.
Well, that Dr. Dieter might rear his ugly head one of these days again. But we have serious business to get to today with you, Lauren. We've asked you the very serious task of nominating what you believe is a perfect album. So what album of yours will you be presenting before the tribunal today?
Yes, I feel like I am coming to you like, in any good movie where it's like, Your Honor, I'm here today as a humble, my liege, et cetera, et cetera. I am bringing, because I feel it just embodies everything this podcast is, I am bringing Noah Kahan's Stick Season Forever to the pod.
All right, Stick Season Forever, which is like the Uber version of this album.
Yes.
The big kahuna, the third iteration of this album, I believe, right?
I think so, yeah.
I think Noah Kahan's one of the big things in pop music right now. So there's a good chance that our listeners and our viewers already know who he is. But for those who don't, for those who might be not so in the know, Michael, what's that segment called where we can get those people up to speed?
Everyone's favorite segment, you mean?
That one.
It's called
Yeah.
The Beginner's Guide to Noah Kahan's Stick Season Forever in 60 seconds.
In 60 seconds. And you're going to be doing it today, aren't you?
I sure am.
How are you feeling about this one, Michael? Are you feeling confident about your ability to...
I'm feeling okay. There's just surprisingly little about him out there, considering how much he's kind of blown up in recent years.
That
might be by design. I mean, I'll allude to something in this intro here about him that might explain why. But I don't know. I feel okay about this one. I think I'll come in under. Although we've both been going over this season, so I don't know.
Rules are made to be broken, or some rules are.
Some
what they
rules.
say on Whose Line, points are made up, everything doesn't matter, whatever that is. So,
where the points are made up, and something to that effect. It's very much in that spirit, right?
Yeah, I love it.
So as you mentioned, you're a points believer. You miss points.
I do.
But so this will be your opportunity to give Michael some points if you want to, or assess him in some way. His job summarizing Noah Kahan and Stick Season in 60 seconds. Okay.
Okay.
Stick Season forever.
Forever. It's important.
Right. Forever.
I appreciate that distinction. All right.
Yes.
I stand corrected. All right. Michael, you're starting in 3, 2, 1, go.
Hope you like maple-flavored everything, because we're headed to Vermont, the birthplace of Noah Kahan, a singer-songwriter who started uploading his own songs to SoundCloud and YouTube when he was just 8. He got a start opening for Ben Folds and Milky Chance before signing to a major label and making a splash with the single Hurt Somebody in 2019. When COVID hit, he went back home to Vermont and began writing what would become his third album, 2022's Stick Season, a pivot from the indie pop sounds of his first album to something folkier. Described by Kahan as a love letter to New England, the album portrays the towns of his childhood from the perspective of a newly formed and slightly anxious adult, but without losing his northern attitude. He released an expanded version with 7 new tracks in 2023, and a year later he released the final version subtitled Forever, which included 8 duets with artists like Post Malone, Brandy Carlisle, Casey Musgraves, and of course, Hozier. He also started the Busy Head project in 2023 to shed light on the topic of mental health and eventually make mental health care accessible to all, but most recently, he performed at this year's Glastonbury Festival and got married.
Woo! I don't think it's going to make a noise, but it's vibrating. My watch is vibrating. You did it. That was well within the time. You had like 2 seconds left. Good for you.
All right.
Yeah.
Better than I did. All right, Lauren, what do you think? How did Michael do kind of painting the picture of Noah Kahan and this album?
Amazing. Wonderful. 20 points of get out of here.
20 get out of here.
Yes.
I like those. Okay, I don't think we've ever given those.
Harvard yards, anything like that.
My favorite one, yeah.
Yeah. He's mean because he's from New England, right?
Yeah.
There you go.
That's why we love him.
Okay, cool. So you got 20 Harvard yards, 20 get out of years.
Well, I will take that, Lauren. I will take. I do love validation, even in my 40s. But before we dive into this album specifically and talking about Noah Kahan, we got to start the way we always start these episodes. We got to start talking about you and what your relationship is to music, past and present.
Yeah, this is so weird because in my day job, I'm the one asking the questions. So I'm like, okay, I got this.
Tables have turned.
No, it's a good question. It's definitely something I think in prepping for this session, I don't know if Tyler, if you've answered this question in your episodes, but I don't really feel like we had we came from a home where there was lots of music all the time. I feel like there's people in our lives that just, I could think that there's just music always going on. I think if you listen to the episode with our dad, which is a great episode, go watch it, listen to it. I think I can remember lots of rock with Dad. I remember where I was when I listened to Metallica for the first time.
Yeah.
I can remember lots of The Who, lots of good rock. Mom
Collective
was
Soul, remember that?
Yeah. He had a good sound system.
Collective Soul? Wow.
Yeah.
There was the song Heavy by Collective Soul. He used to play that.
I'm familiar.
And it was in stereo too, so you get the he really liked that one. He really liked the theater of Collective Soul.
It would be a moment we'd have to stop and listen for it. So so lots of rock with Dad. I think Mom was more classic, so Carole King, lots of I think it was quality over quantity, I guess, when I kind of think about growing up. But then we were kids of the 90s, so lots of our movies had good music. So I think like Tarzan, like, okay, Phil Collins, pop off,
For real. We went to the Barnes and Noble. We went to the Barnes and Noble right after seeing that movie, and Mom bought the soundtrack. I never forget
Yeah,
that.
we'll always, love that. So
Yeah.
I honestly, and I'm going to speak to Michael because if I look at my brother, I'm going to cry. But I think a lot of my music was driving around with Tyler. My influence in music was driving around with Tyler. And I could not be here without Tyler and just the love that we shared. And, there's times when I have like driving home from band late at night and we're sweaty and we're listening to Mumford and Sons. And,
Yeah.
it's just, I got to explore music with him because, he had, I will say it, I learned Radiohead from Tyler and I would be a less of a human because of that. So, I'm so grateful to be here, but also just because, it's my brother and that's kind of where music came from for me. So, yeah.
Did he get you into Wilco at all too? I know that's
Oh,
another big one
yes.
for him. Okay.
Yeah.
All
We
right.
just all the things like he
Well,
would
we were
just
iPod
turn.
kids. We had
Yeah.
this was our, we had iPods before they were just on our phones. And so
Yeah.
I feel like, the MP3 generation is something that probably there's a lot of talk, but it was easy for us to just be kind like giving music back and forth at that time because
Yeah.
we would just, I think we went through the arduous process of burning them onto CDs and then putting them into our individual iTunes because you had to manage your library in such a way where to make sense of things. A lot of random untitled tracks that we loved that was just like track 6 in our like in our knowledge of it. I remember
I
a
think
lot of
Mom
that.
still has a lot of that, and I'm like, Mom, come on.
Who knows what it is?
Yeah.
Yes, back when music listening was purposeful because you had to like actually put it
was
onto
very
something and label it and yeah.
Yeah.
So we had a whole mess of, I remember all the mix CDs we had sitting around in the car. It's good stuff right there.
Yeah. They were
Gold.
pretty great. Yeah.
So wait, you said band. So what
Yeah.
instrument did you play? Because it's well
Oh,
established that Tyler
gosh.
was in
Wow.
band. What one did you play?
So I started on the clarinet,
Okay.
and then that just wasn't enough for me. And it kind of gets into really who I am. I switched in the 7th grade to bass clarinet, so
Right.
got to carry a bass clarinet to and from school every day for years and years. And then I marched with the bass clarinet. So
Yeah.
let me just push up my glasses because I'm a nerdy nerd. So
it was that was you chose one of the less convenient instruments to carry around for sure.
Yeah. But when I was there was a whole day where we could try like a bari sax and an oboe, a bassoon, and all the music was whole notes. And I was like, who needs to just run on and on? I like a good 16 count rest, and I'm here for that. So
this is what I liked about tuba too. Is like it was just the simplest lines.
Whole notes, whole notes.
Vibes. Just vibes, as the kids would
It
say.
made memorizing in band very easy because I'm like, wait, are we resting here? Or are we holding? So what are we doing?
This might be a quality. We have an opportunistic quality, you and I, and I think sometimes we see those avenues where we're like, can I work smarter? Like, am I gonna work smarter instead of working harder? A big part of our music sharing was with our CDs, like we were saying, and then I think we were like absorbing music from our friends too. Like this was a big thing. We had a lot of shared music from like who were your buddies that you like. I'm thinking of Mary Kate Baraba. Like I think you guys shared music a lot in middle school and high school. Who were those people outside of me and my friends that kind of like from your year that you most hold musical memories with?
Yeah, I think in school we had like a free period called Learning Lab, and there was a group of us in there who we would because you would go and you would do work or you'd
like
nap or whatever you wanted.
Yeah.
And I just remember Haley Aubuchon and Abby Nestor would just burn CDs, and there would be like Passion Pit, there would be like Conor Oberst, like just the most random collection of music, and it was just so great. But I think like Molly Barnes was always so kind, and I think there's so many of your friends too were so kind sharing music. So
we got our Steely Dan from Connor,
Oh
And
gosh, yeah.
yeah, we got a bunch
Which
of
I hate to
jazz.
say, I was just so annoyed. I was like, you all love Steely Dan. They all had shirts and they wore Steely Dan. And now my husband would roll his eyes at me because we are such easy listening folk that
Yeah.
Steely Dan is a pivotal point in our relationship and life. So, you know,
Lauren's husband Casey is notable for his love of yacht rock specifically.
yes.
Like the yacht rock subgenre is very, very important to him, Michael. That's it's something you need to know about my brother-in-law.
Okay. Yeah. We've invoked. I mean, aside from the Steely Dan episode, we have talked about yacht rock before. Janice
Yeah.
Rowland Redway talked about her love for was it? I don't know if they're like a cover band or what sort of band that I think called Yacht Rock Review or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
Was that the one you guys went to see recently, Laura?
We saw,
Who'd you
so
see?
embarrassing. We saw Christopher Cross, which is, he still has it.
Hell yeah.
He's still got it.
Wow.
We saw Christopher Cross and then Men at Work and
Men at Work.
Toto.
That's nuts.
Whoa.
Oh, and Toto. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
a good show. It was a good show.
That is
They
a very
all
specific.
still got it. So
Okay.
yeah. They're all touring too together. So if they're in
Well,
your town, go see them.
See, that's the thing. When you're like, and I'm not saying this to be a knock, but when the music is a little easier, they've just aged well because they weren't going so hard.
Oh
so
yeah.
they could
Christopher
still keep
Cross
up.
had 3 backup singers, and they were all in floor length, like satin dresses. Like they were there to perform. Like it was
That's pretty
on
cool.
point. Yeah.
Can you imagine doing they have to have been doing that for like 40 years now at this
Oh,
point.
yeah.
I mean, it's hard to, we talk about like the life cycle of bands and how I was seeing that LL Cool J was at the Yamava Resort and Casino in LA before I left. And I was like, damn, I wonder when he made the transition to casino circuit artist.
Yeah.
Because it is a different, it's a part in the artist's life cycle.
He's making the network TV money now. So he's like,
that's true.
You know, he can
but even the Killers were at the Yamava Resort and Casino. And I was like, damn, wasn't it just a few years ago that they were an arena band?
Well, but like, don't bands at a certain point, like in their career, have to decide if they're going to be like, I mean, like, Pearl Jam's been around forever and they're still like, every time they tour, they still sell out arenas. But is it like a conscious choice to just sort of keep going, but say we're gonna shrink a little bit? Like, could the Killers fill an arena today?
I don't know. I think maybe. What
I
do you think,
TikTok
Lauren?
has the opportunity to bring everyone back,
That's true. Yeah.
I
Because
had a
kids love
friend
pavement
text
now.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had a friend text me that the Plain White Tees are back on the college circuit, so they're doing free.
Whoa.
Yeah. Like we saw the Plain White Tees at Six Flags when I was in middle school.
That's
but like,
right. So it's like time is a flat circle because they are back to, it's sort of like they got huge after being the Six Flags band, and then they've come down the other side of the mountain a little bit. But I mean, it's still, shit, they're still touring. That's what more can you say about that? It's hard.
What does the Six Flags band mean?
It's a great question.
Well, if memory serves, it was a lot of pop punk bands. It was like a lot of,
and it was free. Like
was
you
free.
just showed up and you're
if
like,
you were at Six Flags.
Yeah.
And also, like, I think maybe, Lauren, you can correct me if this is the wrong kind of characterization of it, but it felt like kind of the Warped Tour adjacent pop punk bands that weren't as good.
PG. Yeah, for sure. It's PG.
Yeah, so it was like the PG version of Warped Tour bands, kind of.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Which, I mean, hey, we need them all. They're all.
I have many beautiful memories just sweating and being like,
yeah. Pop punk was you were also, you probably got me more because this osmosis of music, it went both ways, because there were bands that you and your buddies were listening to that I definitely wouldn't have been exposed to if I didn't have a younger sister. So like the pop punk bands like Say Anything, Jack's Mannequin, Something Corporate, those kind of bands, like it wasn't in my vernacular except for you. Hello Goodbye, remember that band? Oh God.
Yeah, I was pretty emo there. I was like alt
you
emo,
had a moment,
for in middle school. Our parents got divorced and I was like the externalizer kid. I'm like, I need to feel things. So yeah.
I would call this the MySpace era of music.
Yes.
Because I feel like
exactly
all those
what
bands got famous, or like they got more famous because of MySpace, I think.
And you had did you ever have checkerboard slip-on
No.
vans?
I was we were also raised Catholic, so I was like trying to be a good Catholic girl, but also like internally like raging. Like
That's what
they
the
say, like the
suburbs,
higher
baby.
the hair, the closer to God. Like me, the darker the eyeliner, the more we feel is
The eyeliner
like
was pretty
I just
great.
needed. I had
Yeah.
nothing to really scream about, and the bands I listened to didn't. If I had found grunge like Dad talks about in his episode, like I don't know where I would have been gone.
Yeah.
You
Well, I
know.
mean, this was we don't get emo without grunge. Is
Yes,
the
correct. Yeah.
is the thing that
But if I had like
emo.
pivoted and like, that
Yeah,
would have been a very different world for me. But
gone in
now I
that
can
direction.
appreciate it all. So here we are.
Okay, well maybe this is the parlay into Noah Kahan, because
Oh yeah.
I feel like this is really emblematic of a few different things. But what do you let's start with your discovery of Noah Kahan. Was it from TikTok? Is that how you discovered Noah Kahan?
No, so dear listeners, I have to own that I boycotted Noah Khan so hard at the
Did you?
beginning of it all. I
Okay.
did, yes. There were some influencers on like Instagram that were just like going hard for Noah Khan. They would go to his concerts and just I now no longer follow them because of mental health, but
Mm,
I just felt like
got to.
we're not that music's not for me if that's the people who is listening to him. And it's very judgy, I know.
Oh,
So I
interesting.
took a very like, okay. I knew a lot of him because he's in like commercials and TV, like his music is just out there. But so it took me a while to get really in front of him. And
Mm,
it wasn't really until last summer, serendipitously, I go on a trip to Boston where I was kind of in a funk in my life trying to make changes. And I go on this trip for a sorority event. And I had saved a playlist from Spotify, like a, curated playlist, like folky feelings playlist or something like that.
sick.
And I have a ritual when I like take off, I like pay attention to the stewardess because it's very important information that they tell you. And I have my headphones in, so I like know what they're talking about, but I'm like, kind of checking out.
Yeah.
And two songs came on, well, three, I should say, that came on that really just like hit me and like took me out of watching these lovely humans. One was an Ariana Grande song that I'd never heard of, Hate
Mm,
That I Love You, which if you have not listened to it, I'm in a very happy marriage, but like that song was like, whoa, if I just was in a breakup, it would hit every
yeah.
need. But then I heard Still off of this album and
Mm.
Halloween off of this album. And I was like, holy effing shit. Who is this guy? I need to reevaluate my life.
Yeah.
Cut to, then I'm in Boston and it's
Mm,
like, his
right.
place, his people, his things. So I then just spent the whole trip just listening to the album start to finish over and over again and
Huh.
just consuming, and I have not looked back ever since.
Huh. Okay. Now
Hmm.
that's this.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was so delayed. I kind of felt like you were in on the ground floor of him.
No. Yeah. Which, I love to be on the ground floor of those things to be like,
Can I
but
ask
no.
what more? Can I ask for more about what that stance was though against it? Was it because it felt like the people that the influencers that you saw kind of like boosting him up, that you felt like they were hokey or that they were like phony, or like was it an inauthenticity or something like that
Well,
that
we
kind of
could
kept
really get
you?
into my opinions about influencers, but I will save that
Yeah,
soapbox for another
that'll
podcast.
be on our other
Uh,
podcast about social
No,
media
no, one
commentary.
podcast, one podcast, one
yeah,
podcast.
I don't know. I think it just at the time I was just very turned off to, like the influencers because I follow like lots of beauty, family, life influencers, so it's
Yeah,
like
it's
pushing
tough.
lots of products, and so it just felt not really where I was at the time. So
Yeah,
but now knowing him more, it's like, well, if he checks all the Lauren boxes, so
yeah.
it's crazy, but yeah.
Recognizing that a lot of the machine around these artists is so not to do with what their music is actually about. I think there's
Yeah.
a really important distinction that can happen there if you like really dig into some of these artists that are popping off via TikTok and all that. Yeah.
Well, I'm not on the TikTok, so I don't. I mean,
Yeah.
even though the podcast is, I am not on the TikTok. So I mean, I the reason I was familiar with Noah Kahan was because of where I just was when I was living in Canton, New York, where the local news that we were able to get on the TV was for Vermont. It was either Vermont or it was like Northern Vermont or it was Watertown, New York. And the Vermont one had a slightly better quality. So that would be what I would put on because I have this fascination with local news. I won't go into that. But in any case, and Noah Kahan, like, you know, Vermont has claimed him. They have claimed him. Like, they love him. I think, like, maybe there was a Noah Kahan, declared one day, like, Noah Kahan Day or something like that.
Good for him.
And also, I mean, frankly, it felt like the musical taste of the students that I was teaching at the time, like there was some overlap there. And like, I don't know, like listening, I listened to the album before doing any of the research about him. And like, before even hearing him call it a love letter to New England, I was like, oh, wow, yeah, this is someone who clearly,
sounds like
it sounds like he grew up in New England. It sounds like he's in his 20s. It sounds like, it just sounds like everything that your 20s is about with that added like shade of I'm in the Northeast.
Pastoralism, Northeastern pastoralism.
Yeah, but like different because like I mean the instrumentation also like veers over towards like folk or even a little bit bluegrass at times, which could be a different region of the country. But this still feels New England to me in a way that if you asked me to write an essay about what I mean by that, I would say I cannot provide you with that information. It's just all vibes. So
yeah,
all vibes. Yeah,
it is all vibes. Well, Lord, this is, you know, I find this interesting that like your connection to Noah Kahan, and I think that it ties together so many things that I know about your musical taste in some ways, and I'll be interested to see if you disagree with this take. But you know, you and Mom and Dad to a certain extent have stayed much more into contemporary country music over the last decade than I have, I would say. I think every now and then some will pop out, and then it goes, you know, it's been invoked on this podcast before that the first time you actually saw Taylor Swift and that I saw Taylor Swift with you was at the first concert that we ever attended, or that I ever attended. I think it was your first too.
Same, yeah.
Brad Paisley, opened for by Taylor Swift, and one Miss Kelly Pickler. Hope you're doing all right,
she
girl.
She opened for the opener, which I love. I love that. But yeah, definitely.
So, you know, where are you? How country is this album in your mind? How country is Stick Season?
I think I totally agree with what Michael says. The bluegrass, it's you know, I think it is that melting pot, though. I think, you know, to bring it back to what is that, Schoolhouse Rock? That to me, I feel like
Great American melting pot. That you're talking about that one, right?
I am. Yeah. Thank you for that interlude. I do think, you know, it's very fall to me. It's very. It just. I think my friend Katie and I use the term, and I'm sure it's on TikTok, that it just scratches a part of our brain that like it just feels right. So I think I do love country, but I also think I live in Missouri. So like that's what you do in the summer. You go on a boat, you drink beer, and you listen to country music. So like, you know, that's
this
just
is a boat place. For a landlocked state, you wouldn't expect that.
Yeah. So, but I do think it does have a lot of elements to the music that I love.
So does this how far from, like, if you were putting Noah Kahan in a he wouldn't be on a boat playlist. If we're going to the lake though, this isn't what you're putting on when you're out pontooning.
No, not at all.
No. I wouldn't say so either. It's a lot more introspective. It has the introspection of like a Bon Iver. Or it's almost like a Bon Iver, Fleet Foxes. We don't get Noah Kahan without Bon Iver and Fleet Foxes, I think, in that particular order, you know?
Well, I think the way he talks about New England and the way that it's so steeped in, not to the, you know, Tea Party and all that kind of stuff.
Good one.
I think it's how I feel about my hometown. Like, I think I love that. And so I think it literally, to me, that's where it just takes everything and puts it in a nice package for me.
Mm-hmm. The expression, the kind of sensei. Yeah. What is he saying about hometowns in your opinion? Like, what do you think is to me, it's like I love it here. I love it here, but I'll always feel conflicted about it. Is that
Yeah,
what you think the core of it is? What's he saying about hometowns?
I think so. I think, we all have one, in
We do.
at some extent, and it's pretty much a love-hate. I think
Yeah.
probably we're from the boomerang generation, so we leave and we come back at some level. And,
Hmm.
I think we know we need it, but, we like to try to get away from it, but it always has its claws in us at some, you know.
And I do think you get that weariness, like as privileged as we are in our lives, you get that weariness from Noah's album of being like, man, I got it good, but also it's like it's still kind of hard,
Yeah,
you know?
which I think is a lot of themes you get in country music,
That's
like,
true. Yeah.
There's a lot of alcohol and regret on this
yeah,
album. Like every other
Yeah.
song is mentioning someone drinking, and like it's. I mean, it's in some ways for me when I was listening to it, I did hear some Bon Iver. I also was thinking like there's some Ed Sheeran here.
mm,
Yes, big
I
time.
mean, and this also, he is very much coming out of the like Mumford and Sons,
mhm,
Lumineers, everyone sing hey, like,
Oh,
like
hey,
that.
yeah.
There's a little bit of that going on here too. And but yeah, I guess maybe the crossover with country is the sort of alcohol and regret.
yeah,
Yeah, and I read he doesn't drink on tour. That's kind of that's a cool boundary, like I don't know, man. Alcohol's hard. I'm coming to the point in my life where a lot of people around me and myself, like you're really
yeah,
assessing what role you want alcohol and substances like that to play in your life. Maybe this will continue to happen in different chapters, but I think it's an important conversation that we have, no matter who you are, no matter how good you got it or not. Those things you gotta manage that relationship, don't you?
yeah. Well, it's funny because I listened to this so much last year, I was in like like the 1% like of listeners of Noah Kahan.
Hell yeah.
Um, I'd make a comment
Check.
about it's the only 1% I'll ever be a part of,
Oh,
Um,
zing.
Zinger! Late capitalism,
but
huh?
I guess Spotify made him like record a video for his like
Yes.
listeners,
I got
and
one from
you
Jeff
could
Tweedy
just
too.
you could tell he was pissed about it because he was like, "Hi, thank you so much for listening. If you're not on an SSRI, man, maybe go talk to your doctor. Okay, bye." Like
Jeez.
literally.
Whoa. Okay,
So,
Noah.
which
Jeebus.
I mean,
Wow.
I think I appreciate because I think, like I know there is that connection to Ben Folds, but I love
Yes.
those people who are like, I'm gonna write music to write music and
Yeah.
fuck everything else. So
Yeah, and we got to talk about Ben Folds for a second. Like, there's definitely
yeah.
some Ben Folds in this, and man, I've seen him at least 4 times. How many times have you seen him?
Oh, probably double digits for sure.
Really?
Yeah.
Holy
Yeah.
shit! You kept going to Ben Folds concerts even after the first few that you and I saw.
Well, I saw him once with the symphony, and then that
That's
was
right.
just
Yeah.
like
Sick.
anytime I can
He's
see
so
an
good.
artist I love with the symphony, it just like makes the experience 10 times better. So,
Mm.
yeah.
That's he's a good one to see with the symphony too.
Yeah. I'm just the type of person where like I love watching people who love what they do what they do.
Yeah.
And like I think a lot of
Almost
the
doesn't matter what it
artists,
is, right?
yeah, like I love the Olympics, not for like country like go USA, but for like these people train
Yes.
all of their lives to do this one thing for these however many minutes to hopefully get a medal. Like I
Totally.
love that. And so I think a lot of my musical taste comes into people who are like Justin Vernon. I'm gonna write these albums. I'm not gonna tour them.
Yeah.
Figure it out. Like I
It's an
just if
interesting thing, right?
they love what they do and then they
Yeah.
do that and
Here,
I
here.
yeah.
Hell yeah, Lorne. We
Well,
need to talk about standout, don't we?
I was
What the
gonna say,
heck?
yeah. Let's go back to Mr. Khan.
Yeah.
We're curious to
Yeah.
know. We asked you to choose the standout track from this album. Would you care to share your selection with our listeners and viewers?
I will, yes. So this is the hardest thing, and it's supposed to be hard.
It
So
is.
I'm just angsty about it, guys. But to the tribunal, I bring Northern Attitude featuring Hosier.
Well, dear YouTube
YouTubians.
viewers, you should be watching us via our playlist, which means that now you are about to see, I guess, like a video or like a video version of an audio. You're going to hear the track that Lauren just mentioned, so you can appreciate it in all of its glory, featuring an artist who we have already talked about this season.
Yes.
And so enjoy that, and then come on back for part 2 and hear what Lauren has to say about it.